Welcome back to Tailosive EV Podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for letting me do the intro this week. I appreciate it greatly. How is, who wasn't here last week? Was it Nick or?
I think everybody was here last week. Was that not true?
Oh.
Everyone was here last week.
We lost Nick for a little bit, but if I recall,
we lost him at the end.
We were trying to sell him on a Model 3. So, Nick, did you buy a Model 3?
Oh, right.
Update on the Model 3.
Yes.
I went shopping, and not for cars, but for car loans. And oh my goodness, are the rates low. So
interesting. I'd have to ask about that. Well, is it better to get it from a bank or from Tesla?
So that's what I was shopping around for. Tesla was quoting me the highest percentage APR, as expected. My bank was middle of the road, and another bank, which I don't currently bank with, Navy Fed, they gave me the lowest, online lookup rate. So if I want to do Navy Fed, which is the cheapest percentage estimate that I've gotten
Navy
so
Fed?
far. Yep,
Navy Federal Credit Union. You have to be a service member or affiliated with the government to have a bank there. Sorry, Drew.
Yeah.
So what's Nick do?
His family, his dad is he's a former devil dog.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So how low are the rates then?
The one that I was quoted, I know they're not the lowest, but it was 3.4 was from Navy Fed. So I know you can definitely get it lower, but
Man, you make me want to go shopping.
good. I know, right?
Yeah.
So I was like,
Randy's like, I'm going to buy a Model Y now.
Tesla was like 5.4, and I was like, no, I'm good.
It's a little bit steep.
It's a little steep. So
Yeah.
Interesting.
anyway, we'll see. I don't know. I haven't really made any decisions, and I'm not in a rush. But my car, every time I drive it,
Nick, does your
I'm
dad have an account with USAA? And if
Yeah,
so,
both.
have you looked? Did you look with them?
yeah, I have a USAA account.
Did what were they quoting you?
Let me look.
When I was in that same position shopping around, I thought USAA was going to give me a lower one, but Navy Federal gave me the lowest one, so I did go with them when I did the initial finance. But it's interesting to hear that Tesla is still the highest. If I remember correctly, that was the case with me too. I considered going through Tesla.
5.29 was USAA, so they were pretty high too.
Yeah, that was
Not
the same
as high
for
as
me.
Tesla, but
I remember distinctly having this conversation with you guys. I did not want to go with Tesla because it wasn't technically in-house. It was going to be outsourced to like Bank of America or something like that. And I didn't want to deal with another bank altogether. So when I was doing my process of elimination, I was like, I have an account with Navy Federal. I have an account with USAA. And USAA was extremely high in comparison to Navy Federal. If Tesla had a proper in-house thing going on as they would do with their insurance, you would think, if that was all in-house at the time, that might have tipped me into Tesla just to have a one-stop shop, as we were kind of talking about last week. But it's interesting that even now, because it's different. I would consider you, Nick, a new generation of Tesla, because now you're post fad. It's not a fad anymore. Now it's a real player. These guys are S&P 500. This company is solidified, and now you're a customer of that product. I would think that would make it cheaper. Back then, it felt like, it's more niche. Yeah, it kind of makes sense. It's going to be a little bit higher because when I bought the car, and I even think when Mike was in the process of getting the car, like it was still, Tesla's going to fail. That whole talk was still there. So I suspected something so small. Typically, a smaller entity has more overhead costs, so those things would be more expensive. But it seems to me that I'm willing to bet Tesla has no control over that. When you went with Tesla, that was probably a Bank of America thing.
like
That
I don't remember who the underwriting bank was.
I hate B of A. I do not like that bank. That's a terrible
Me neither.
bank.
Slightly less hated than my most hated bank, which is
Wells Fargo?
BBVA. No. Not Wells Fargo. The bank that killed my
BBVA.
favorite bank.
Can kiss my butt.
Right. Well, I think it's because it probably hasn't gone down because they now have the inverse problem. Too many people believe them. The demand is catching them off guard, as they talked about on the last earnings call. They did not expect this overwhelming number of people to want a Tesla all at once, and they're like, well, we can charge whatever we want, I guess, because people are going to pay it. So that's the situation with used vehicles now as well.
Interesting.
Because everything used costs more than new, just because people want them, and they're willing to pay what people are offering. So
yeah,
that's the situation we live in now.
So now that you're shopping, Nick, is it still with the Model 3 or what's the configuration? What are we looking at?
I'm sorry. Elon just tweeted that orbital attempt could be next month, so that was distracting me. I'm still looking between a Model 3.
Do you have to go?
No, I don't. I have a whole month to get ready for this, possibly.
You've got a month.
No, you better be ready.
It's an Elon estimate, so we probably have like 5 months. So
this is going to be a long podcast, so I hope you're free.
It's only 1 month long.
Right.
You just look at the iTunes player, and it's like 1 month. As the timestamp. So the Model 3 or Model Y question is still up in the air. I really think it's going to come down to the spec that I get and the ship time that I'm willing to wait for. Model Y kind of recently went down on shipping estimates. I haven't looked in the past like 5 days or so. But I think,
Let me check.
I think at this point, I did some shopping with the loans. I've done my budget. I figured out how much I want to have with a down payment. I figured out how much, all my finances. And I think probably by March, maybe April, I will be comfortable doing it. Now, I could do it right now, as impulsive and rash as I can be. I could go buy it right now. But I don't want to.
Let's do it.
I'd rather wait. Drew, don't convince me.
Right this second. Actually, they've removed delivery timelines for me on the website.
What?
I can't find it. It's not even in the drop-down menu anymore with finance options and gas savings. Model Y doesn't have estimated delivery for performance or long range. It's weird.
Okay. So this brings me to my second point here.
Okay.
The reason why I'm also kind of wanting to kick it out to March, April timeframe of next year is because I'm still holding out hope for that Cybertruck. I am still holding out hope. So if we have more news, like we've just gotten some leaks on the updated Cybertruck design, I'm the GIF. So you're telling me there's a chance. So we'll see. I don't want the worst thing that could possibly happen would be me to buy a Model 3, Model Y, and then have the Cybertruck come out like 6 months later, because then I'd be like, I got to sell this, make sure I'm not losing money on it, make sure that I'm getting a good deal, and then have to go buy a Cybertruck.
I don't think that'll be hard.
I know
to be
it won't
honest.
be hard, but still, it's like I'd rather just if it's within like the next year, I could wait a year for the Cybertruck. I could hold on to my current car for another year and wait. But if it's like 2 or 3 years, I guess I could get a Model 3. I don't know. I just want the Cybertruck. That's all I want, guys. I'm looking at the configurator.
No, you want a Rivian now.
I've looked at the configurator for the Model Y and the Model 3, and it's like they're nice cars and stuff, and I see a ton of them at Starbase. But I want a Cybertruck, guys. I want a Cybertruck. I don't want a Model 3 and a Model Y. I want a Cybertruck.
I've never gotten that impression from you.
I know. I have to take the rest of the show just so I can
Ladies and gentlemen, we have breaking news on the show. Nick wants a Cybertruck.
That's interesting. He's always been skeptical of the Cybertruck and always
super skeptical.
Hated it.
Worried about it.
What changed your mind?
What do you think of the new design, Mike? We've got some renders now floating around of the windshield and the mirrors.
Yeah, there's one 2 hours south of me at a airport, just driving around, testing out the new look,
Airplane
I guess. Yeah. It's it's got side view mirrors now, which is cool, but you can't really see it because the video was taken from 200 yards away or something like that. And it's even a short clip as well. You don't even get a long clip with it.
Right.
And
it's very crappy.
Yeah, along with that, it appears that the lines have changed to where the windshield is a little bit lower, or it comes down a little bit lower. That could just be how the thing's riding at the moment, where it could be tilted a little bit forward or backward, but it's still possible that they increase that length just for visibility or something else.
True.
Which would mean that the frunk is smaller, which is a little bit of a bummer, but
possibly.
I mean, if you got a whole bed, then where are you going to put in the frunk? I guess some stuff that you don't want to mingle with the bed items.
True.
Or if you filled that up with like a camping package. But
yeah. Probably not a deal breaker, but
yeah, and it looks like it's got different wheels as well, so that's pretty cool.
I noticed that. Do you think those are the same wheels without the aero covers, or
I don't know.
Some people were saying the back tires look bigger than the front, but I don't think they'll go that far.
I'm not sure, but I was told by a Tesla employee recently that I think this one was at the factory a couple weeks ago.
Oh, really?
So
is that the one that drove by in the parking lot without the door handles? People were talking about possibly.
He did say that there was one there a couple weeks ago, but he didn't see it. But he has friends at the factory. He's the an employee that works at the Fremont Delivery Center. Forgot his name, and honestly, probably wouldn't be good for me to name drop him. Then
shout out to that guy.
Shout out to that guy though. He actually helped me. I don't know if you guys saw the little thing that came up on social media, but at the Fremont factory, there was a QR code to get test drives for the Plaid SNX and the Cybertruck.
Ooh.
Oh my God.
Ooh.
So what did you do?
Ooh.
What happened?
So I signed up, and so did my wife as well, for Cybertruck test drives, and then I signed up as well for Plaid SNX since those look interesting. But I don't have the money. I've got no intention of buying one. But I don't know if that means whether people are getting rides in Cybertruck soon, or if they'll be able to drive the either original or one of these alpha prototypes, or
dude, I bet that wait list is a mile long.
Yeah, or if it's just like you're a ride along, so you can't just get to sit in the back, or even
sit me in the vault. I don't care.
Throw me in the bed, stuff me in the frunk.
That'd be nice. Or worst case scenario, you just get to look at the thing, which I don't mind either.
Yeah, that's a pretty wonderful worst case scenario. Just like, can I walk around it, and not have to go to the Peterson Museum? That sounds fun. I'm glad that that's an option at least. That sounds interesting.
Yeah, that way Randy's not the only one on the podcast who's seen it.
I'm the only one. My bragging rights remain supreme.
Who will be the first to ride in one?
Me.
No.
I have all the time in the world, and I will fly out to California. They're going to bring one out
all the way out. Oh, no, you'll fly back.
I will fly in a heartbeat. I
have it on good authority that the next Cybertruck sighting will be in Starbase. So I'm going to say I have the best chance of riding in one, Randy.
You're not going to ride in one.
I don't doubt they'll show up in Starbase. I just doubt that you'll be able to get a ride in one.
No.
You'd have to run after it, jump inside.
Yeah. There you go. We just do like Ocean's 15 on the Cybertruck.
Right.
I make this plea today that I will be, out of us four, I will be the first one to drive the Cybertruck.
No,
I guarantee it.
Oh, drive. Okay.
I'm going to be the first one to drive it. I guarantee it.
All right, now will the police be following you in hot pursuit, though, Randy?
I can't confirm nor deny how I'm going to do it. I just know I will be the first one.
Mm-hmm. He's going to be jumping over the tape and climbing in the front. He's going to go 5 feet and then get arrested. I told you guys. I told you. I called it.
As the perp walk is happening, right? He's like, I told him I'd be the first.
If I can infiltrate Giga, Texas just fine, then...
Infiltrate.
If I can infiltrate that just fine, then I can guarantee I will be the first one driving a Cybertruck, whatever the final design, or maybe even the prototype. But I'm betting on the final design. I'm going to be the first one inside that sucker, driving it, and I am going to... if I go to jail, that is not the intent of what I'm trying... That means the truck sucks because I got caught.
So are you all wanting to take mirrors off, I assume?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
Oh, interesting.
I don't hate it.
For convenience. I'd like
They
to
don't
not crank
just
my neck all the way.
look good. It's all bubble. It's not straight edge. It's black and boring. It's not even stainless steel.
But when I saw them, I didn't hate
I don't have a
them.
good look. Yeah.
I thought I'd hate them,
I'm just glad.
but I
To
didn't.
me, it's a sign of like we're getting ready for production, right? Like, if we're making prototypes now that are street legal, and they're like, okay, we gotta tweak it so that it's ready for consumer deliveries. That's a good sign. I mean, I don't think it means it's coming soon, but it's the steps you gotta take to get closer. I just think it would be in Tesla's best interest to show people the updated design as soon as possible to get expectations in check, because there were already people looking at the updated one going, ew, I hate it. This looks weird. I'm not used to this. So it's like,
That's what they said about the first one. Just rip
and it took them some time.
rip the Band-Aid off. The sooner they show it, the more time we have to get acclimated and get
Same with
pumped about it.
pricing. Let people know, if you're not going to actually make a $40,000 truck, you best to find that out sooner rather than later. But
Agree.
I'd say the optimist in me, if you look at like how the Model Y rolled out, it took like I think 4 or 5 months for it to go from seeing it on the streets in the Bay, all around the place, to actually being delivered in like February or March. I think that's about 4 or 5 months. If you want to translate that to Cybertruck, it's a different vehicle. It's not being built off of like same parts as another vehicle that Tesla's made, like the 3 was to the Y. But we could. This is me being optimistic. There we go.
Yes.
It could come in.
Optimistic.
It could come in the summer, right? So first seeing the alpha prototype in, is it October?
That
it's
is
October.
optimistic.
It is October.
Yeah.
Wow, Mike.
Could be. I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying that I
It
fully
is.
believe that
You
theory.
are correct. You are correct that the Model Ys first started showing up in October of 19, and the assembly line was definitely not done at that time. So they were building production-ready Ys and testing them out. So it makes sense that they would do the same thing with Cybertruck, especially considering how different it is. New batteries to test, more off-roading to test, totally different aerodynamic probably testing to do than the Y or 3, which are pretty standard. So there's a lot of pre-production testing, I could imagine, where we just start seeing them driving around Starbase in Texas pretty regularly.
Yes,
but
please.
they're like, so we saw them. When are they coming? And
I'm
they're
gonna,
like,
I'm gonna turn the
don't-
NASA space
don't
like
ask.
daily videos from Starbase production to Cybertruck spotting. Cybertruck
I'm sure
spotting.
that would get views.
It's just going to be Cybertruck coverage. I'm going to be like, okay, and so behind this Connex box, beyond the chain link fence,
NASA
you can
Cybertruck.
see one side.
Yeah.
Would that
That
brings
would
up
do well.
a kind of related question. So SpaceX uses, was it Model X's to take astronauts from the
Yes.
complex to the launch pad?
Mhm.
Would that change then if there's Cybertrucks out? Would astronauts be able to just board in a Cybertruck and be taken to a spaceship in a spaceship?
Yes.
They could do that now,
Please?
honestly.
Like, well,
There's
maybe.
You only need one. You take like 4 astronauts. The Cybertruck can sit a driver and 4 passengers.
I mean, they have a whole
It's
bunch
not
of
that hard.
oxygen and other stuff that they carry with them or plug into when they get into the vehicle. So you're going to need a whole lot of oxygen
And a
tanks
bed.
other things. Oh, yeah.
It's got a big bed. You could do that with the one Cybertruck in existence, or the one doing donuts in the airport. Whatever. I just love seeing how tight it turned. Like, that was encouraging to me. I was like, whoa, that thing's huge, and it's going. I hope that the yoke, if it does stay, is like very sensitive with the rear wheel steering, so that there's not as much of a need to do the hand
you
over
just go
movements,
shoop,
and instead
and
you
it
can
goes
just
shoop.
do like this, and you're at maximum turning radius, and that's enough.
It'll feel so
Like-
much more like an airplane because like the yoke of an airplane doesn't go like too far. You know, it's highly dependent on the airspeed. You know how sensitive it is, but it only really goes so far. And if you're
We're
and if
gonna
you're on an,
replace
if you're
the
on an
accelerator
Airbus,
pedal.
then it only goes this far. So
Yeah, on the new Cybertruck, there will be no pedals. You just pull it towards you to go faster and push it away to go
God.
It's going to save millions on manufacturing. I should be careful. I don't want to give Tesla any ideas. They'll probably consider
Please
it.
don't.
What else can we remove? What don't we need?
Wheels.
The human.
Cars drive around with no one in them.
No humans.
Even better.
Even better.
What did you think of the... I know not everybody caught him, but did it feel weird for you, Mike, having Elon not on the earnings call?
No. I enjoyed it, actually.
Really?
In a way.
You liked it more?
I enjoyed it in the manner of it was a nice way for the Tesla team to be a little bit more independent. Yeah, it's nice to have Elon there and give a little bit of spontaneity, but we're able to we're able to pay attention more to the people who are actually on the ground doing the work, or at least in charge of those that are on the ground doing the work. I was talking about this with my wife. It might be a little bit, maybe not frustrating, but imagine like, how about you, Randy? So you're doing music all day, you're making different music, and then you go to for some reason, some earnings call or whatever, and then your boss comes who's in charge of you at this music studio, fictitious music studio that...
the Taylosive movie studio? Yeah.
Correct.
Something like that. And then he's just talking about everything that you're doing as if he's doing your job, or at least like he knows all the ins and outs. When in reality, he's only coming in for 15 minutes a week, looking at what you're doing, trying to figure out what you're doing.
It sounds like some producers I know. They just come in. All right, yep, this is looking good. All right, keep it up. They go, and then the producer gets all the credit.
Yeah, so it could be. I was thinking it might be a little bit frustrating for these guys, right? They're working day in, day out on these systems, and then they get to the earnings call, and they're maybe giving an update from a question, and then their boss just cuts in and talks about it, which isn't bad. That just means you don't have to do as much work, but it's a little bit frustrating when you've poured your heart and soul every single day, every hour, late nights and all that, working on something, and someone else just speaks on your behalf when it might not be totally correct, or you feel that you wanted to add some other details. So, not saying they don't enjoy not having Elon, or they enjoy not having Elon there, but it was nice to learn more from the people with the boots on the ground, in my opinion. And it was a nice change of pace.
It reminds me of like how you get some of the other exposure when they do like Apple keynotes, and instead of it always being Tim, Craig, Phil, the head honchos of these senior VPs, now you have people who are a little bit more involved, and it's like better representation at that point too. So in a way, maybe they could. The difference between a keynote is it's all premeditated, whereas like if you're doing an earnings call, you're actually like you said, Mike, you're hearing straight from the source or closer to the source. But then it's like everyone knows who Elon is, and that's a good thing. Like that's something that's a benefit for most of those things, but it also comes with the memes as like, yep, he's going to stumble and mutter and 2 weeks his way through this whole thing. So, yeah.
It felt fairly scripted, but I think that was intentional. Like, for one, I'll just mention they improved the audio quality substantially. So, good job.
Besides having
Tesla
the technical difficulties of not being able to hear analysts talk.
Right. I'm going to blame the analysts on that one. I think they just didn't know how to unmute their mics. But still, the audio bit rate has been improved. And I was like, oh, this is refreshing. But, yeah, it was just kind of standard. And, they didn't want to give much detail on probably the more interesting questions. It was just kind of like, everything we said we're still doing. We're doing that. It's like, when is this coming out? Later.
Yep.
Can you comment on the steel suppliers for the Cybertruck? How many people are you working with? We are working with many people. Many suppliers.
That's essentially how it went. Yeah. I mean, they were more upfront with, like, they don't expect 4680 deliveries until next year.
Really?
So, yep. They did mention that, and they did kind of allude to not delivering vehicles to customers from the new factories this year. So I think they're just a tad more realistic, which Elon probably is, basing a lot of what he says on Twitter off of his last conversation with a lot of employees and higher-ups, which could have been a week or two ago. So he's like, oh, yeah, that'll happen end of this year. That's the vibe I got from the annual shareholder meeting, because he said something at one point like, insurance is launching in Texas next month, and then someone went next week, and he went, oh, next week. So he's like not completely in the loop on everything anymore, which is fine because I'm sure he's more busy with SpaceX stuff. So it's a good overall thing for the company that Tesla is proving they can be fast and innovative and on top of things even without his involvement. But same time, you lose a little bit of that hoping Elon's going to drop something unintentionally or say a little bit more. That excitement is kind of fizzled out. It's kind of like Apple earnings calls after Steve is gone, in a way. Now I don't listen to those, but because they don't drop much information. They're just kind of like, we're doing well. So
Tesla, I think Tesla...
The numbers are good.
Overall, or maybe even Elon... I say Tesla. Because they're bigger now, slip-ups like that, like what you're talking about, I just think that they're more self-aware of their presence. So
yes.
Having that improv kind of script. Remember, you see early stage presentations with Elon coming out, kind of screwing around and having fun, and it wasn't until like this past year where it's like, all right, we got to take ourselves more professionally because now we're big cheese. They don't have that.
They're nearing $1 trillion market cap.
My
today.
God, yeah, they don't have that small business startup mentality anymore, or they shouldn't because they're too influential. I saw the same thing. I think we all, even if we look back at it, we all see the same thing that like happened with Apple. They were the underdog going against Big Blue, and so like you are the Big Blue equivalent now. That's you. So it's not an underdog story anymore. You just your narrative changes because you're so influential for all the right reasons, and you can make the same case for Tesla. So I think some of that more fun, lighthearted stuff, we're not going to see it in situations like when they have earnings calls or stage presentations. I mean, I'm sure there's times and a place where they'll let themselves be a little bit more loose about it, but they know that the whole world is watching now. So they kind of present themselves a little bit differently. And it's probably even better for Tesla that Elon isn't so involved because it's not necessarily his role to be there for the specific nitty-gritty day-to-day. He's not a day-to-day operations guy, or he shouldn't be. That's not his function as a CEO. He managing multiple companies that he either owns or started. That his attention needs to be more big picture, help driving the companies forward, not worried about the day-to-day. So asking him a question about insurance launching in Texas, I mean, if they can ask him because it's right there, sure, but I wouldn't suspect him to know that when his mind is thinking about production of the Roadster and Semi and Cybertruck. That's where his brain should be at if it's in context of Tesla. And then everything else is Neuralink, SpaceX, and whatever he's doing with the boarding company.
The bot.
Oh my God. Cyberdyne Systems, Terminator, Model 101 coming online, and
he's got a little bit on his plate.
He's got a little bit trying to save the world from destruction.
Or destroy it, one of the two.
Itself.
Or destroy it, yeah.
Right.
That's what destroy us all. Pretty sure. It's going to be Elon's fault.
Oh, man. Is there any hope for Standard Range Model Y at this point?
I hope. I do hope, yeah.
I don't know if I've mentioned it on the podcast, but one probably the most interesting bit of information we got is that they are now switching to LFP lithium iron phosphate batteries to all Standard Range, no matter the country. Yeah. So that includes the U.S., which was a suspicion of mine for a while. But wouldn't it make sense if you're bringing over those batteries from China? Wouldn't it make more sense to put them in the Y than the 3?
Yes.
Financially? Because you could charge more for them and use probably more efficient manufacturing?
I agree with everything you just said.
The only thing you have to struggle with is range, but if people are okay with taking the range hit, because it'll substantially decrease from what the current lowest range for Model Y is, which I think is 305 or 303 or whatever for the performance.
Oh, right, for the performance, yeah. Well, they're using LFP in the Y in China, so they're comfortable with it there at least.
Yeah, I don't see why not. But
if only.
If it dips below 250, it's bad, according to Elon.
Right. No, that's unacceptable.
249.
That's their
251.
standard of excellence. Elon's got a very narrow view of what range is good. It can't be much more than 400 or any less than 250. It's got to be in there, and that's it. We don't need range.
That
over
might be
400.
his Achilles heel, the same way form factors on iPhones with Steve Jobs is. He wanted it small for so long, and while everyone else was moving on, people were getting mad about that. I think once we get more cars, EVs, coming out with different longer ranges, whether you want to talk about performance, just range alone and having it on paper, I think they're going to strong arm Tesla to up the ante about the range, to go past this notion of between 200 and 400 miles on a battery, which put a premium price increase on that for your configuration, call it a day, get some money in it, and everybody wins. Tesla wins, consumer wins, and actually the whole EV sector kind of wins in that sense, because then it's kind of like the new norm, it's the new standard, and
sure,
that's a good thing. Yeah, that's a good
yeah,
thing.
that is. I hope they get there, just because the Y is a more addressable market. I would even take, like, if it costs the removal of the standard range 3, I'll take it. You
Shut your mouth.
A soul for a soul.
Yikes.
99 souls.
Well, if they're gonna charge $42,000 for the 3 anyway, at that point,
that's inflation talking. Don't you punish the Model 3 for that.
Just saying, we're not getting under 40 this year, so
yeah,
that's not gonna happen.
I would
with
much
the
rather
3 or
see the
Y.
Model Y get the standard range, more so because I think the Model 3, there's a case they could in its current existence in the lineup, it can be approached to be more sporty, and you can make it more of a sports car, where the Model Y can be more pitched as a utility family sedan crossover style than the Model 3. I think the Model 3 can be the I forget the Honda. There's a Honda car, CRV, CRX, CVR. Anyway, there's sportier cars
it's VCR,
that are
Randy. It's the Honda Accord VCR.
The VCR. The VCR does that run tape?
Plug in the cassette thing. Yeah,
does that run tape?
Yeah, the AI updates are mailed to you in a VHS tape.
Gotcha.
Plug it in the center console.
Update.
Thanks for the clarification.
VHS.
VHS.
That's the tweet.
God.
Why?
Why? What are you texting, Mike? What is this?
Yeah.
Have you? Oh, so another point of news is there's not just the sexy lineup now, or the cars lineup that Tesla's making. Foxconn, that we talked about, I think, last week, has the seat lineup, or CET, where they've got a Model C, which is their consumer-friendly one, the Model E, which is, I think, the one that we talked about last week that looks like the Lucid Air, and then the Model T, which is, I guess, a truck, or not a truck, a bus.
A bus?
You can't use Model T. That's copyright.
Or E either. You can't use E or T.
Yeah. Ford is going to be offended. Lucid will be offended, too, by this vehicle that looks extremely similar to theirs.
The interior looks similar as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I haven't seen the inside.
I don't know how they're going to get around it.
They're in China, right? Or are they building these in the U.S.?
I think it's going to be China.
If they're in China, there's a lot less copyright law, so...
Oh, yeah, no, Ford can't do anything about this.
Yeah.
Unless they come to the U.S., Ford can't touch them.
Yeah, the Chinese government will be able to protect them, I think, pretty heavily just by saying this is a Chinese brand, so they can do what they want. And Ford can complain as much.
You can complain all you want, but screw you guys. That's what they're going to say. Don't care.
Well, I wish Foxconn all the best. I do have to wonder how much manufacturing expertise from smartphones can actually translate to cars. I know that from a consumer perspective, they feel similar because it's like, oh, screens, computers, and batteries, but they're just so drastically different from a mass production level. Like when you're making a vehicle with efficiency in mind and range in mind and something that's going to be outside pretty much its entire life and going to be in the sun and the cold, like they just have to be designed totally different from a phone, despite, yes, there's more and more similarities with cars and phones, but I hope Foxconn can kind of translate into EVs well, because we need more like McDonald's levels of EV production where we just have insane amounts of EVs coming out all the time, but they got to get the right batteries, I suppose.
Just call Foxconn McDonald's of the EV world. Jeez.
Yeah, I would consider that. I mean, they sell at extremely high volume, just like McDonald's does. Billions and billions served. We need billions and billions of batteries.
So would like
something scalable.
Would Tesla be In-N-Out in this case then, if we're making a comparison to fast food?
I like In-N-Out.
Stop making me hungry, Mike. The nearest In-N-Out's 4.5 hours
is
north.
more like
I'm not going to drive up there.
Mercedes. Because In-N-Out is not for scalability. They're pretty picky with how they scale their business, and they don't come to certain markets, as Nick is now discovering. Tesla's probably the closest to McDonald's. Maybe not Lucid. Foxconn could be a good Burger King or something like that.
God.
Runner up.
Don't you disrespect Foxconn like that?
VW will be Subway.
Ooh. It'd be nice.
The whole metaphor. I could go off there.
Canoe is Ike's.
Subway's the cheapest. Subway's the cheapest franchise to open up. That's why there's so many of them.
Mm.
It's like incredibly cheap to open a Subway, but they don't sell as much as McDonald's, I believe. So this is crucial. I'll get this whole analysis right.
Taylor's of fast food reviews.
I love the look. I don't know if you caught it, but I love the look of Luna, the new Aptera model.
That's the third color that they've produced, right?
It's essentially space gray, yes. It basically looks like a space gray Aptera, and every Aptera prototype that comes out, I'm like, ooh, dang, now I like that one more.
Is it
basically
matte
like
or satin?
One. I think it is matte, yeah. It's like a composite. It's like a steel and aluminum. No, it's like a boating material. I forget the composite's made out of it, but the finish does look pretty sick. So I'm glad that they're moving into, what is it, beta phase now?
Mm-hmm. I think they're on the same path as Cybertruck right now, or at least at the same location in the development period.
Yeah.
Right? Because these are their alpha vehicles. And so if Tesla has alpha Cybertrucks rolling around, that means they're probably working on the beta phase. And Aptera's got their alpha vehicles now fully complete with Luna.
Yes.
That came after, was it Noir and Soul? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they're probably in beta phase development, getting near the end.
Mm-hmm.
So
that makes sense.
Wonder which one will come out first.
Neck and neck. These two beautiful vehicles.
Maybe I should just, because I don't mind the Aptera mostly. Maybe I should just put it up to whoever comes out first. That would suck if it was not the Cybertruck.
It's a race. Yeah.
Nick, I'm gay.
Thank you for telling us this, Randy. I appreciate your bravery.
I came out first. Now you get to pick me.
I'm so proud of you, Randy.
I came out first.
I came out first. Now you have to pick me. That's what you said.
It is.
Oh.
Update your bingo cards, gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, Randy has made an offensive joke.
It's not offensive.
Oh, someone will find it offensive, I'm
sure. Who would? You decide. Anyway.
Epic rap battles of history.
I really want Aptera to hit the market. I think that would be beautiful. But They got the colors down, it looks like. I would also appreciate a picture of all three. Do all of them?
I asked him.
Did you guys catch Jay Leno's?
I think we talked about that last week.
Yeah, we talked about it like last week or week before. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But to answer your question, no, I didn't catch it even then or now.
Gotcha.
I was thinking about that, though. Like, how many other questions he could have asked? Like, are you partnering with anyone? Or, I don't know, are you going to be giving more paint?
Do you care at all?
Do you care at all? Are you going to come out with more paint colors? I don't know.
And this is quite a looking weird thing that we got going on here.
That's Ben Shapiro. That's not
No, that's Jay Leno. Jay Leno.
So you have to squint your eyes if you're doing Jay Leno. You have to squint your eyes, Randy.
It's like
what kind of range you getting out of a car? Like, why does it look like that? I don't understand why it has to have three. That's my Leno.
I'm going back to the Tonight Show.
So, does Aptera have any full self-driving type aspirations? I'm pretty sure they have an option on their website where you can reserve their, full self-driving package. Have we had any updates on that? Like how that works?
All they've said is safety pilot, which is level
pilot.
2. Basically, they're aiming to have some kind of autopilot equivalent, but I have not seen them go for any kind of like robotaxi or.
I think they're aiming for basically what the industry's catching up to in terms of full self-driving, or at least autonomy, being lane keep assist, and also maybe being able to go from one lane to another with just by hitting the indicator or something like that.
That reminds me of Dream Drive. Did you catch that video?
No, I didn't.
Is that Lucid?
Lucid's self-driving package. They're like, it's the most advanced system in the world, and then all they show is features that already exist. It's like,
that's right. And I remember. Yeah, and then they said,
it's like, look, it'll change lanes.
Shut up.
Shut up. And auto park.
Cadillac.
And they hyped it up on Twitter, like, get ready for Dream Drive. And we have like 4 times as many cameras as a Tesla, and we have LiDAR, and we have all these things that do what's existed for 5 years.
The thing I did appreciate, though, is when they showed the auto park, it wasn't between 2 cars. It was just right next to another Lucid. And it wasn't even a parallel
FSD
park.
Beta does that, but yeah.
It does? I'll have to try it out then.
They said it reads the lane lines. Well, so you're getting the beta?
Oh, yeah, I guess we haven't updated. So I'm at...
Safety score time. Let's get updates, please.
I'm at 99. I've been at 99 for most of the week. I got a bad score of... was it 97 out of 100 yesterday, though I blame my root canal that I got. Otherwise...
Yes.
Yeah, I'm still
by the way, Mike is being an absolute trooper today. He's coming in here with like massive health issues and
root canal. He's missing a leg. He can't see. He's completely.
I mean, he's practically Jay Leno at this point.
What?
Come on the show, Jay. We'd love to have you.
That's the new joke. We'll put that on the bingo card for next week.
Does that mean you're getting the beta tonight, Mike?
I could. I mean, it depends on how many users they're going to rope in.
Oh,
right.
I didn't realize. I thought it was everybody at 99.
We might have to do an emergency Taylor Swift movie
review. Yeah, come on, Nick.
Yes, we should do that too.
We got to review Deadpool 2
We got to do
again,
Deadpool 2 and all of the Spider-Man series. But we need to do a Taylor Swift autopilot review in an emergency.
I might have to do an emergency drive to Mike's house.
I think for a day. That would be worth it. That would be worth it.
And then we'll drive through the Bay Area and visit a few celebrities along the way. And
like Jay Leno?
Like Jay Leno in the Bay Area?
Me?
I think he's in L.A., so probably not. Maybe road trip.
All the way to LA.
All same state. The car will do the driving. I'm excited for you, Mike. That's so cool.
Yeah, where are you at, Randy?
You've retained the 99.
Are you still at 98, good sir?
No. I have not been at 98 for a long time. I'm still at 96. I just looked.
That's good.
Yeah.
You've got 4 weeks
for not driving about 5 days. I purposely try to go do something for a day just so I can log in some miles, but it's not getting any worse, but it's really hard to get it to bump up. I'll be okay if I get to 97, 98. I'll be happy with that, but man, It's hard.
Have you
It's hard
guys-
for them to get these numbers up. After the more you drive, the harder it is to adjust the number.
It's all about
'Cause
the
there's more
rolling
data.
average.
Yeah.
Have you guys kept up with any of the FSD beta videos, or have you kind of?
I've watched
bored.
Frugal Tesla guy. He's been fun to watch. If you guys or the audience hasn't seen much or they're curious, he seems to review it really well. He's put on a lot of edge cases. I think there's one that he put the car through where it's like a weird intersection in his town that he lives in that has like 7 or 8 different paths you can take to get through the intersection. And it's not just like you take a right turn here or you can take a left turn. It's more like the intersection's like almost like a Doctor Strange type of like weird spell symbol or something like that. So he showed all the different circumstances that happens when you put it through, and some that you'd think it'd go easily through, like, oh, it's a light. It'll recognize the light. It won't. It'll just accelerate through. And he has to stop it because it's midday or whatever. But otherwise,
That's intimidating.
that's one that I'd recommend. At least the one that I've been kind of watching on the side, just to prep, just in case.
Sure.
Just that way I know what I'm getting into potentially in the future.
I've been keeping up with AI Driver and Dirty Tesla. Those are my go-to. But yeah, Frugal Tesla guy's good too. What were you gonna say, Nick?
Yeah, I haven't really been keeping up with the FSD beta videos, but from what I've heard, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Great.
I'm still
Great comment.
after watching all of these
Only
updates
6 people
after.
have died, so we're good.
Yeah. No. No, I'm not going to say that.
Nick says the controversial thing this time.
That's not controversial. That's
Plot
offensive.
twist.
You bring up a good point, though,
No one's-
Nick, though, because Tesla is giving you a 3-strike system on the FSD beta. So,
Oh, really?
Yeah, this came out recently. I forget where, but I think it was on Twitter. Someone shared an email, but someone had 2 strikes against them. If they got one more strike, then they were going to be knocked out of the beta, which I don't know whether you could get back in.
Strike as in like evasive
baseball.
action?
Yeah, like if the system encountered something, or no, if through the cameras Tesla could tell that you were not paying attention during a event that required your attention, or at least maybe normal operation driving as well, you'll get a strike.
Wow.
Ooh.
In which, I guess, going back to what I was trying to say is I don't know whether you can get back into the FSD beta after that, or if you're just completely banned. In which then...
Can you imagine paying $10,000 for something that you get banned from?
Yeah. I can't imagine there's a perma-ban thing. That sounds crazy.
Yeah, but then what's the duration? Like, do you have to go through the whole safety score thing again? Or
No, you have
I
to
would
go
imagine-
through driving school.
You have to wait until the beta.
They'll
The
revoke
beta
your
is,
license. You have to go back to 15.
You have to wait until
driving.
it's out of beta.
that
That's what I
might
was
be
gonna say.
forever.
They wait till it's out of beta, which is like
Some
10
people
years.
pay for the beta and never even got it. So
It's been a
with
year.
the least.
Most people have paid for.
Randy, you've
self-driving
paid for the
haven't gotten
beta
it.
and haven't gotten it.
I'm not
Well,
leasing.
to
thank
be fair,
God.
they paid for full self-driving.
Oh, I see what you mean.
They didn't pay specifically for the beta, but the beta is giving people a closer look at what they hope to eventually be completely out of beta, so you won't have to be in it. But you're right, Mike. That could be a very, very long time. So, no, I don't think there would ever be a permaban thing, though. That sounds too class action lawsuity.
Maybe. I mean,
People
their lawyers are
angry.
pretty good in terms of writing all the legal jargon in regards to, like, hey, you need to
That's
pay
true.
attention. You need to do this.
Dang legalese.
Yeah.
They got some good lawyers. They better have some good lawyers when they're rolling out software like
I would
this.
think if they're offering insurance and software that can potentially drive itself and electric cars that are a little bit controversial in terms of, like, it's a different energy source for mode of transportation, you better have a good set of lawyers or else you're going to go down pretty quickly.
That's true. A lot of FUD and a lot of people going after them who got money, so including the government. Did you see who got appointed as one of the, I think it was vice chairman of the NHTSA?
Missy
No.
something.
Missy Cummings.
Yeah,
she
Twitter's been
basically
crazy.
Yeah, I think there were definitely a bunch of Tesla fans going too hard, being very, very abusive, and I think she's deleted her Twitter account now. But basically, she was on the record for dissing on Tesla and retweeting Tesla Q hashtags, and clearly an objectively anti-Tesla person who has been appointed in charge of a federal role. So that had a lot of people angry. I didn't follow it very closely, but my viewpoint is still the same of just like Tesla's bigger than the federal government. I think that the numbers will speak for themselves. Basically, like I'm in the camp of like everyone has a bias and everyone is going to be subjective to certain things. And to her credit, I'm not saying she's right, but she did say that the tweet most people were angry about was a tweet from 2020 that said there's no way Tesla will have robotaxis ready this year.
I think that's a
as critical as she was.
Well,
that was correct. But she was retweeting other, short selling stuff. So it's clear she's not a, objective, fair individual towards the Tesla thing. But I think that if there's going to be legal pullback on self-driving, and maybe the government gets involved and says you can't roll out this stuff, then Tesla's going to bring out the data, and they're going to show, look how many accidents per mile driven autonomously, and look how safe our cars are. So if you don't have facts to back up why this isn't a good idea, then I don't think one person on part of a board is going to make that big a difference. But I wasn't curious. I didn't know if you guys were into that discussion.
I hadn't even.
I didn't know that was a thing. The only thing I know about changes in the
That's good.
government was that vice president, whatever, director, admiral, health.
Who is
that one? Anyway, that's the only thing I know about this past week.
Yeah, I think what provides is a barrier for full self-driving to evolve into something that people want. Having this person who is very anti-Tesla, or at least anti-FSD, and doesn't trust Tesla at their word, or just isn't very confident and or supportive of propelling mankind's transportation to a new level, and wants to keep it a little bit safer, which as a potential director, that makes sense. You don't want to push people into dangerous situations. You want to keep it safe. So
should be skeptical.
Yeah, it's good to be skeptical. I'm not saying that I support her in the words that she said.
No,
but
she also said something like, we've been testing autopilot and it's terrible. It's nowhere near. I'm like, okay, that software is not the beta, so it's kind of hard to compare. But
very true.
Yeah.
But also to her credit, she's not wrong about that either.
No.
So.
But to
it's not perfect.
Incite a mob is on Twitter is a little bit, I don't know. Social media is a very powerful tool, and to use that to bully someone is not the best thing to do. I would say it's very bad to do. But
no. There were definitely people going too far.
To at least inform an individual, or at least try to have a conversation, is definitely the path to move forward with. If someone does not agree with a certain aspect of a product or good that you think that they could be swayed, or at least you have a different view that maybe you could impart on them, go ahead. But to, I don't know, bully the person into saying, or not into saying, but into just like believing something that you believe that may not be entirely true is not the way to go. So I think it'd be best for many people if I were to talk to everyone about this whole entire issue. I would say having conversations, or at least like proving to this individual who's very skeptical of FSD beta or just full self-driving on Tesla's part, to convince them it's safe, or at least as long as you're still operating the vehicle as a vehicle and not thinking that it is this whole entire new system that you can get in and it drives you everywhere. But it's getting to that point would be a good way to go.
and how careful Tesla is to roll out these features, I think should also be brought up in courts of like these people who are, dying to get a hold of this software can't get a hold of it because of these complicated safety score techniques and all the strike systems now in place. And, they're basically doing everything as safe as humanly possible with the rollout of a self-driving suite of software. I think that they're basically doing everything right other than the naming. I don't like the name Full Self-Driving, but aside from that, testing people and scoring them, even if the system's kind of broken and the algorithm definitely needs to be tweaked, that's a good idea. Collecting data from a fleet of vehicles and monitoring all the interventions so that you can correct that vehicle and the next time it goes down that route, that's genius. I think that's far more scalable. Finding a way for people to pay you to have the privilege of testing the software, that's a much more wise move financially for the business. So I think they're doing everything far smarter and far better than everybody else in the autonomy space. So if people are just more aware of that, I think they'd have a harder time hating on it or disagreeing with it.
Mm-hmm.
They should change the naming.
I think that the name has held back Full Self-Driving in the public opinion for far too long, and it's time that we ascend past this broken name and this broken system and go to something like HAL 9000 takes the wheel and just leaves all of humanity.
Very Elon move would be not full self-driving or partial self-driving.
HAL
or
9000.
like that.
I'm sorry, Nick. I'm afraid I can't let you do that.
I'm like, but
Can I
aren't
have
you like
the beta?
supposed to be the best driver in the state? And HAL 9000 is like, that's a quote from my favorite book.
Yeah. Based on the beta videos I've been watching after version 10 and then 10.1 and 10.2, I'm not super convinced level 5 is getting closer, but I do think level 3 is. So that's still my dream. I'm still please, just a day where I don't have to pay attention, but I still have to sit there. I'm good. That's enough for me. But
yeah.
I don't think we're on the trail of 9s yet. I feel like with the current beta videos as I'm watching them, we're at I don't know, 89% safer.
69%.
Maybe. Yeah. There's definitely some where I don't know.
42.0%.
I appreciate the beta testers, but some of them are like, this is so cool, this is so much better than before, and then it does something really stupid and they're like, whoops, okay, whatever, and then they keep going. And I'm like, okay,
let's
just
switch
be honest,
to the real driver here.
Yeah. Let's go to back. Yeah, it's like if humans aren't that great at driving, then why are we using humans to monitor the self-driving system?
You just blew my mind. You just blew my mind, Drew. Oh my God.
Right. Whenever
if
people
we
say
are flawed, why are we the ones reviewing?
that would have been hard for me too. It's like, then why did you take over? Must not be that hard. I don't know. I ping pong back and forth. But after I watch AI Day, I'm like, oh man, this is really closer than we think. These cars are going to be fully autonomous really soon. And then I watch the beta videos and I'm like, no, that's not going to happen. Because they just make really obvious mistakes, and you're like, I thought this was the one Elon was like, no, this one is going to change everything. And after we get single stack, that's when it all gets real. And then every time it's like, yeah, but then it does this, and then it does this. And there's, like they said on the earnings call, there's the unknown unknowns. Ooh.
What you don't know. That's the real, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
and I think there's local maximums that they are not aware of, potentially.
Hey, like I told you last week, that's the beauty of this whole safety score thing. Because my fear is I don't know how it's gonna work in a place like New York City, and that's the secret. It won't, because no one's gonna have a 99, 98 or anything like that in the city and comfortably navigate. So those unknowns get kicked to the far back. That's just kicking this long pebble down the road that much further. We'll figure it out later. But these people in rural America, give it to them. That's
I just
the
like
approach.
it for the insurance rating.
Yeah, it is more.
Man.
Someone got.
It's
more
isn't it very
Mike.
totalitarian
Oh, sorry.
and very a certain a certain country does something like this with social scores and it affects your whole everything, and
America?
doesn't it feel
America?
No,
Guam.
no, I don't want to say it because
The country.
What's your
An
Guam score?
overseas territory, dude.
I just feel like your whole thing is based off of how you drive is intimidating, because how am I going to be able to break the law and still get privileges if I'm being watched?
That's your logic.
Yeah.
You can pay your more expensive insurance. I'll take the cheaper one and drive like a
There
grandma.
you go.
But I
Have
want
your
to
freedom.
break the law and pay the same price as you.
It might
No,
not be an
it's
option.
just like Google. You sacrifice privacy and security for affordability.
I don't use
9
Google.
times out of 10, people will. Well, you use YouTube. You're a part of the system. You help them.
You're right. You're right.
YouTube's free. So
You're
you're. we would
YouTube's
take-
not free.
everyone
Your
would
boy's
take-
paying $12 a month. Yeah, they are making money off of me.
Wow.
Sorry,
Wow.
but yeah, I saw someone in Texas get a insurance quote for like $50 a month, and I was like,
Wow,
whoa.
I didn't know it went
That's
that
cool.
low.
Sorry, I interrupted you, Mike. What were you gonna say?
I don't remember, but it definitely is a double-edged sword. Like I
I
said,
don't know. I don't
Guam.
remember.
Guam score. What's your
Guam.
Guam score?
I will never go back to Guam. No, I gotta stop saying that. I said I was never gonna go to Virginia, and here I am. I'll never go back to
Don't say
Virginia.
that.
Here I am. I'll never go back to Guam.
Tomorrow, you're gonna get. We've got new orders. You have to move to Guam.
I will be so
Oh, wow.
mad.
How would you get?
Anderson Air Force Base. I will.
You have to say goodbye to the 3 at that point, unless you really
No, I
want to
won't.
ship it there.
You can take.
I'll bring it.
Oh, there was. I remember what I was gonna say. Elon mentioned in a tweet that Autopilot 2.0 vehicles that paid for full self-driving will need camera upgrades.
Wait. Say that again.
That's
Just say exactly
So-
what you just said.
back in 2016. That's when they
16.
started saying these vehicles will have all the hardware for full self-driving included.
Yes.
Now Elon's on the record saying those older vehicles, if you pay for full self-driving, they'll need hardware 3, the FSD computer, as well as new cameras installed. So we're already reaching that point. Now, luckily, he did mention that will be included, no additional charge. We're not
Okay,
going to
good.
charge extra. Because they did say these vehicles, maybe they could have worded that better. These vehicles include, they should say, your purchase includes all the hardware. As in, if we come up with more hardware necessary for self-driving, we'll give it to you for free, given you've paid for it. But yeah, I think that's a sign of what might come in the future. Of like, we discover another local maximum of like, okay, with Tesla Dojo online and with all of these miles driven with the FSD beta, we can get to 99%. But to get to the 99.99 that we need for full robotaxis, we're gonna need. I don't know. Nick said it on one podcast once. I think he said like they're going to need 8K resolution on all the cameras in order to see far enough.
It's really about the dynamic range, honestly. You need to be able to have a good amount of
XDR.
dynamic range from this screen in the center console will now be manufactured by Apple and cost $5,000 plus $1,000 stand.
No,
It's an add-on.
the funniest thing is you said manufactured by Apple, which they don't manufacture.
Foxconn, whatever.
But
But
yeah,
Foxconn's cars, though, ooh.
they're going to be like, well, in order to get the FSD subscription, you have to pay an extra $2,000 for the computer and an extra $3,000 for the cameras, and then you can subscribe to it.
So that's $5,000 on the $10,000 that people are paying right now. Or
Right, like I could see this getting worse, but that's
actually no.
the camera upgrade thing is like the start of the ever-ending cost of providing hardware upgrades to people.
It would be $5,000 on those that purchased FSD in like 2016 or 17, which at that time
Yeah.
was like maybe $5,000 or a little bit less. So
right, it was
So
way
basically,
less.
Tesla wants everyone to pay $10,000.
Yeah, it gets you up to the 10K. So even if you paid
It's like,
5K,
you bought FSD at $6,000. Well, you have to buy the $3,000 computer upgrade, and then we'll give
Then
you a
they would
discount
be
on
in
the
trouble.
cameras.
Yeah. Legal trouble would come up if that happened, but thankfully, so far they're saying
guys,
we're not going to charge
I'm buying
extra.
a Lucid Air.
But bingo,
So
everybody! Mike has threatened to defect.
I was just looking at because Mike sent us a thing of Elon responding about the popping out the cameras and how easy it was, and I was like, oh, look at that. So then I move out to Twitter just to get to my thing. First thing I see, Alec Baldwin killed a guy today.
Oh my goodness. That was yesterday.
How old was he?
Oh, yesterday?
That was yesterday.
It was
and
yesterday.
He killed a woman on accident
He
because of a
shot
gun.
somebody.
Well, it's a pending investigation. A lot of people would say it has to do with the prop department who handed him
A live gun.
Well,
a live gun.
who's guilty, the gun or the person?
Whoever set him up.
There's a whole. This podcast is too fun for that subject.
Yeah,
We can't
I was
go
like,
into
William
this.
Shatner went to space.
No,
Yo,
it's very
Jimmy
sad.
Carter
It's very
is
sad.
90 years old. Alec
know.
Baldwin killed a guy.
What's next?
Oh, it's too sad.
It
Bader
is
Ginsburg
sad.
comes back from the grave.
Wow. Anyway, hey, got a question about this camera popping out thing though.
Yes.
Does that mean or I guess me and Mike, I would say. Mike and I, excuse me, grammar.
Mike and Ike.
Mike and Ike. That's a terrible joke. What does that mean that in the future, if there's some upgraded sensor system, whatever, we could pop out our cameras, get them replaced, and because you have FSD, that means it's covered. Like I don't have to pay an additional charge 5-10 years down the road.
It will depend on if the hardware is necessary to achieve level 5, I believe.
So
Because
so
that's
it's in goal of reaching level 5 to get us there.
Their main legal requirement with that package is that at some time they deliver you level 5. It doesn't matter if it takes 300 years, but at some time the car will completely drive itself. But if it's able to completely drive itself with its current hardware, then they would not. I don't think they would give you the option to upgrade the cameras to make it even better at driving for
better.
They're like, well, it can do level 5, but the new cameras can do level 5 more or something.
What?
I don't know.
Even more level 5.
It's a great question though, because they've already confirmed that the Cybertruck is going to be rocking hardware 4.
Yeah.
And it's going to get upgraded cameras and upgraded self-driving chip. And at AI Day, he mentioned that we don't believe you're going to need hardware 4 to get level 5. But offering the cameras as a free upgrade to the older cars is evidence that in the event they reach another local maximum with hardware 3 and the current FSD chip doesn't get them to level 5, then they would have to offer retrofits to everybody who paid for full self-driving. The subscription is weird. It's like you got to pay a little more. But,
Interesting. That is
yeah,
interesting.
I'm curious if we will go through that again. I'm wondering, like, how good can Dojo get with the current hardware? Will it reach a point where the resolution or the dynamic range of these cameras isn't enough?
I suspect that would always be the case because tech is always improving it. If it overall gives you, even if it's a bit of a redundancy, if it gives you a sense of security and comfort knowing that this might work, but this is even a better integration of it, I would opt in for that, because sometimes I think when driving or flying, I don't want good enough. I want the latest and greatest safety precautions.
I want pretty mediocre when I'm flying, honestly. I prefer my pilot to show up in flip-flops and a t-shirt. And,
you flew on Spirit before.
I have, yes.
Oh my god.
Yeah, Frontier. Oh, you're a Frontier subscriber.
There goes our sponsorship.
Yeah, we bought tickets for Spirit, and then the trip got canceled, but we still have the credit, so we're like,
oh no,
debating if we should use the credit.
No, don't. Bring some quarters.
How
if
much
you
do you
fly
value
Spirit,
your life?
Because
I see it as a free way to go skydiving.
parachute not included.
I'll bring my own. It's a carry-on. I'll take it with me.
Oh my goodness.
Carry-ons cost, so be careful.
This episode brought to you by
Sponsored by
Airlines.
Spirit.
Decidedly not Spirit.
Sorry, I only hear bad things about airlines. Who's the good airline?
Delta,
Southwest.
Delta, I think most people would agree
Really?
Delta is
Southwest has
better.
had a impeccable safety. The only time that they've had
I've heard
issues.
terrible things about both.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Southwest?
You heard wrong.
I mean,
that's a bummer.
I can't think of, other than like maybe Arab Emirates, I can't think of any airline I've heard.
Emirates,
No bad things
I would
about.
not fly Emirates, but yes.
Delta's
The
pretty
big hotels.
pretty spot on. Southwest, I fly with Southwest. I like using them.
My father-in-law calls them Southworst.
Well, your father-in-law. Well, that makes.
bratwurst.
Well, what
Your
does he want?
father-in-law has an Australian accent, which makes that sentence sound a lot better.
Do it. Say it.
I guess Philippine
Say-
Airlines.
Say
I
it,
wrote on.
say it,
Southwest.
say it, do it,
Southwest.
say
Say
it,
it in Aussie, in an Australian accent.
Southwest. Oh, did she fly in on Southwest? Love you, Pete.
That is
Can't
your
wait to see you.
father-in-law.
Yeah.
He's funny.
I can attest. He has such a dry sense of humor. He was in the car and Mike was like, "You want me to turn up the AC or anything?" And he was like, "Oh, I don't want the battery to run out." He's like, "We're at 80%. We can go 200 miles. We're fine."
I have a story about him, but I'll tell you when we're not recording. I don't want to be on record.
Oh, cool. Everyone DM Randy on Twitter.
DM Twitter on Randy.
DM Twitter on Randy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
no, he loved that car, but he didn't want to say he did when he was in it. On the drive home, maybe when he got in my car, he was like, "Wow, that Tesla was amazing."
He's like, I really wish that we had the air conditioning.
I don't want the battery to run out.
Everyone. There was one. We were driving home from that trip, and we were talking about taxes and stuff in California, and we were driving on a stretch of road, and we were like, "Yeah, the taxes here are pretty high," and he was like, "Yeah, but that's why the roads are so good," and we were driving across like a really bumpy. Yeah, that's why the roads are so good. He just has an overly pessimistic view of everything. It's beautiful.
So he's not Ted Lasso.
I am crying.
Yeah, that is correct. He is not Ted Lasso.
Pete's great.
Yeah, I'm excited to see him again. I hope we see him soon. But we'll have
Sounds
to
like you need
get
to come to the East
Pete's
Coast.
Tesla expressions. He was on the East Coast. He should be there now, actually.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. No, I'm saying you come to the East Coast.
Yes, we will.
Then
I
I'll
think
come
that's
see
the
you.
plan. We won't be
You
near
should come
you,
to
but
Texas next month for the orbital launch.
The
the
orbital
South
launch,
Coast.
Drew.
Come on. Not even just the Cybertruck.
well, we've got like 6 months until that.
Yeah,
so.
you do have like 6 months till that. But next
Yeah,
month,
we've
maybe.
got some time. Maybe I'll drive the Aptera when that comes out to the orbital
The
launch.
orbital launch. There you go.
Yeah, something like that. That might be fun.
Concur.
Go on one charge.
Oh, my God.
You could.
Don't plug it in the whole time. Man, I hope they come out. That would be cool.
It's a cool car.
Patience, my young apprentice. Soon.
Patience.
You
I knew they weren't
going
going to come out this year, but still.
Some younger,
I hope Sandy Monroe's busy helping them out right now.
powerful.
I hope so. It's a really cool product.
Mm-hmm.
Though it can't avoid potholes.
You have to be very good. You have to not go over the pothole exactly, but go over in the left or right trimester. What's the term?
What are you saying?
You lost me.
Not the
What are you
quadrant.
saying?
What's a quadrant of 3?
Triment?
Trimond?
He
Is that a
said
word?
trimester.
Like if there's 3 columns underneath the vehicle, you got to get into the left or the right, not the middle. avoid the pothole.
Oh, Drew, I love you.
Drew, stop.
I don't know what you're trying to say.
I don't know what you're saying. Yeah, when you go over to
I'm
the third
saying you
trimester.
can avoid a pothole in an Aptera. You just can't go directly over.
No, you don't want to hit the pothole straight on until you get to the third trimester. What?
So what you're going to do is you're going to hang a left after the tree and then keep going down the road till you see the big red barn.
I knew.
And 3 trimesters
my brain was
later.
saying trimester, and I was like, that's not right. But I'm going to say it anyway. Oh, well. Hey, Model X's are delivering.
Hey!
Sexy lineup is complete.
Woo!
Almost.
Smooth,
Dude, I love
Drew.
that car.
Smooth.
I'll be honest. If I could get any Tesla, announced or unannounced or unveiled or not unveiled, I would get a long range Model X, no doubt.
What, you like driving?
Not long range? They're not plaid?
The Plaid has shorter range, and
Yeah, but
I
wouldn't
don't
you want to
care
go
about
0 to
performance.
60 in like 3 seconds?
No, actually, because I've
Then you want
done
insurance.
4.
Yeah, sorry.
How fast is yours, Model Mike?
Model Mike.
Model Mike?
0 to 60 is in 4.7 seconds, I think, or 4.6.
Okay, so I've done 0 to 60 in Mike's car, and I thought to myself, I will never need to go this fast in my life, and I feel uncomfortable.
Right.
So the idea that there's some that do less than half that is mind-boggling to me, and I don't know if we did 0 to 60 in Randy's car, but we definitely did like 20 to 55 or something. It was in your old neighborhood. Do you remember that? He just like completely was like, huh? Do you remember? Did we do a 0 to 60 in your car, Randy?
Yeah, many times.
I can't.
We did that on normal just because you're in San Diego.
Oh, okay. Well, I know that's slightly faster than Mike's, but still, like the long range vehicles go insanely fast to me, and faster than I'm comfortable going.
We get to 0 to 60 in about we get there quick. It's like fast.
So if money was not a factor, I'm going with whatever has the higher range, which would be the long range X. I'd even put in some crappier wheels if that meant the range was longer. Switch it back to the 19-inch wheels they got rid of, or I don't give it the 18-inch Aero wheels from the 3 or stupid.
Be like a fat
Drew,
guy
have
in
you
a
looked?
coat.
Have you looked on the used inventory, Drew?
Yeah, they all cost more than new.
Yeah, well, but at least you get the range that you want.
I do think getting
the
a
degraded
plaid
range,
Model
but-
X is like the most egregious purchase ever.
Why is that?
It's a huge vehicle
Egregious?
that can go 0 to 60 in a crazy amount of time, or
2.5.
yeah, 2.5, which is why would you need that in something that
It's
has
an
Why?
X. It's not a Y.
X.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. No, all the used
You're
Model
funny.
X's on the website are $80,000, and they have a range under 240 miles.
He went.
They're all super duper expensive, and these aren't even the refresh.
You're
I
not
would want the
convincing
refresh.
anybody, Drew.
no.
Like the old X's, I don't like that screen or that interior. The new, I love the yoke, and I love the 17-inch landscape display.
If you
So
care
that-
about range so much, get the tri-motor Cybertruck. Over 500 miles, boy.
That
It's
doesn't
not going to
exist.
happen.
You said prior or unreleased, and right now we have nothing to go off of except what
The
Tesla
size.
said.
I want a
I
plaid
really.
semi.
The more. Wait, that would be less motors, right?
No, plaid
But
semi would
longer.
be more motors.
The Semi has 4 motors.
Yeah, so you'd add 2 more.
Plaid is 3. What?
Okay.
Why does Plaid mean 6 motors all of a sudden?
Because it's 3 more.
That's not. You mean 7?
it's
7
no,
motors? Yes, that's not 6.
The
That's
only-
7.
The only Plaid doesn't add 3 to the dual motor, just adds 1. So that'd be 5.
Randy,
You have a.
I don't make up
You
the
have
rules.
a motor for. You have a
Hey,
motor
man.
for the spare tire. It just spins underneath.
It's not doing anything.
No, the Plaid Semi has carbon fiber sleeved rotors.
Oh my god.
The centripetal force makes the truck go turn to the right.
I want to be. You know that guy that always tweets like, when can we get FSD beta? Or, the guys that will ask Elon the same question every time he tweets anything. I want to be that guy, except for when will Tesla Semi be taken to the Nürburgring? Set some records.
Speaking of people asking Elon questions, do you remember that one time where this guy got up there? He goes, "I've waited 10 years to talk to you." Do you know where I'm going at with this? He gets up there.
Is it Nick?
No, because Nick hangs out with him, remember? But he goes up there, he goes, "I've waited 10 years to talk to you, to get to this very moment, so I can ask you a question." And he's like, "Okay." And he goes, I have ideas, and I want to be brought onto your company as a senior vice president, second in command. Help you."
And everyone laughed.
And he goes, and he's just standing there like this. "I'm serious." And I'm like, we're witnessing the birth of the next supervillain. Like,
wow.
I've seen this movie.
What that guy's doing.
That's Syndrome. Buddy.
They laughed. They all laughed.
Too late.
You almost got me monologuing.
Yeah. The people on Twitter are always like, "Elon, reach out to me. I have the patent on a infinite battery," and stuff like that. It always makes me laugh.
Oh my goodness.
How did you guys find this technology? Well, this random guy reached out to me on Twitter.
Well, I've been, if anyone's looking for the graviton, the hypothetical particle that is going to solve the mystery of gravity and allow us to travel faster
Is that like a
than
Peloton?
light, pretty much. Some guy on Twitter keeps DMing me and reaching out to me, trying to get me to tell Elon that he found the graviton. So, oh my God,
where is
we can all get fit now.
It's in Wichita. We found the graviton. There's one.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if it was in was it North Dakota? There's nothing up there.
Dakota. Yeah, that's where they're hiding the graviton.
That's where you hide everything.
We found it. Alrighty. Well,
good old quark jokes.
Closing thoughts.
I'm not saying it.
I'm worried about the Cybertruck
No one say it.
and Randy's availability.
Oh.
I think Randy should buy a Rivian now that we know how much money he has in Tesla stock.
Yes, this
we
is
do?
true.
Wait, you know how much I have?
We know everything.
More than you did last week.
Well, more than you did at any previous time.
That is true. Yeah, but
that is true.
You could probably sell 10% and cover a whole Rivian.
Mm-hmm. Isn't that right, Randy? Nod yes. Twist that mustache and focus your monocle.
You see a smile. You see that smile. That dang smile.
I got nothing
Randy
to say.
Rivian.
Maybe
Rivian Randy, Model Y Mike. It goes.
You can get the 4-screen with it too.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, it's gentlemen. Most of you on this panel should understand. It's not my call. That's not how marriage works.
I know.
That's not how this game plays.
How does it work though?
So you get a mommy, and
you'll understand someday.
Yeah.
When Mrs. Ann Sweeney
I make a motion to end this show.
Mrs. Ann Sweeney will teach you the ways, Nick.
Wait, what are you saying about my mother?
Not that one.
I'm done. We're done with the show. We're done.
Bye.
Have a good week.